Yeah, I've never seen them.
You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call, Carol Sue.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Here.
Bob Bishop.
Here.
Joe Buck.
Here.
Gary Fox.
Here.
Charlie Hastings.
Here.
Jeff Liddell.
Here.
Teresa Popejoy. Present.
Approval of minutes.
Your Honor, I recommend the minutes from the last meeting be approved as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay. Call for a vote.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Jeff Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy. Yes. Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Minutes are approved on a vote of 7-0. No comments from the mayor tonight. Petitions or comments of citizens. Is there any petitions or comments from citizens? Please come forward, Ed. State your name and address, please.
Ed Nason, Norwich Lane. I have some things here that might help out. I have, of course, purchased that.
No, I just thought maybe you were wanting to know if we had something, but I have no idea.
I purchased the building there on Market Street, and
Which building, Ed?
490.
Okay, thank you.
That would be the Jason's House of Trains. The city owned the building and sold it
Okay.
to to Ed in December of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 30 or 30.
Yeah.
However, when I purchased that, I see certain things in there that needed done, and as I was looking at it, I was going to get an appraisal, but it just happened so fast. It was pretty much get it or not. Once I got in the front of the building there, well, a lot of things needed done, and I see those. However, the front of the building, the glass is very unstable, and not only the code enforcer, but there's some others that stated that it was unsafe to occupy. I got a grant from Logan's Landing for half of it to get fixed. In that little pile there, it states an estimate. I had two estimates, and the lowest was from Harris Glass for $6,900. I had a grant from Logan's Landing for $34.5, which is half of that, and that leaves us with $34.50 left open. I rented that since January till now, which I have paid $3,300 in rent, but yet you can't occupy the front, not being safe. Again, I was asking today if you guys would look at to see if you guys would be willing to split that half, which the grant got paid by Logan's Landing, so that leaves $34.50. Half of that is $17.25. I don't mind paying half of that. However, I just thought maybe since we went into renting, I wasn't aware, and when they had that reviewed, nothing stated in the front there that it was unsafe to occupy. However, you cannot, the front of it, as you can see those pictures, the sides there are rotted out, and the window moves probably about 2 inches. It's just open to an accident.
Ed, I have
That's why I was bringing it up.
a question. You purchased the building, or you're now renting?
Renting.
Okay. Originally you said you purchased it, so I was
You said purchase it.
Yeah.
I was having trouble
Yeah.
following.
Okay.
It's lease to own. It's rent to own. The rent is applied towards the purchase price?
Correct. Which as of now, there's 3,300 that I have rented, leased, which is $550 per month. And there's quite a bit that needs done that you can't occupy. However, when we was talking about, everything was brought up, which I was fine with fixing, which is about another 4,000 that needs done due to the fact that we use water. I was just presenting today half the rent, which was 3,300, as you see there, that I paid from January through June. Pay half of that, and then I pay the other half.
Is this a city property? This is city property?
Yes.
Certainly it is.
Okay, then say.
Yes.
I would recommend, because I'm not aware of the situation. This is the first I've heard of it, Ed, so I don't have a lot of background knowledge. But what I think recommend from council is to have our legal representation take a look at the lease to own. I know nothing about it, and see what the details and the stipulations are in there, and if it's indeed in that agreement that we're to fix and maintain the building, then we fix and maintain it. And if it's not, if it was leased to own with an as-is condition, then we wouldn't. But I'd have to look at well, not me, because I'm not very smart.
Do you know that?
Have the legal representation to look at that.
I have that in there. However, when that was brought up, it was about a 3-month process. It was stated that it didn't have to go up to closed bids or open bids, however you guys word that. The lawyer at the time was looking at, do you believe was leaving at the time. But since we was adjoining, he stated that it would not have to be in a closed bid. However, a couple months went by and kind of talking back and forth, but he stated that the laws stated that it did have to go into open bid. So, and that was about December, the second week. And it was 1 week open bid, and then I think it was the 30th or 31st, so it left me about a week to find somebody in there to look at that to make sure that it was maintained or occupied. So that's all I mean, it just took a long time to get going, and it seemed like there towards the end of the year, everything kind of compiled the day before the year ended, unfortunately.
I don't remember any discussion about leasing that building out after Jason's house trains moved out. Do you?
No, I don't.
It was a Board of Works issue. Board of Works, I believe, advertised for bids.
Well, I certainly appreciate the safety issue, but I would like to, as Chuck said, have a look at what legally we're required to do. If we still own the building and it says we're responsible, then we're responsible. But if not, then not. And why it's taken this long to even be brought to our attention. I mean, I know paperwork piles up and stuff, but
Yeah. Well, I spoke to the mayor for a meeting about doing that. That's something that's very,
We'll look into it.
Yeah, let's take it under advisement. Thanks, Ed.
yeah.
Thanks, Ed. Any other petitions or comments from citizens? All right, reports from committees, boards, and commissions. Hearing none, we'll move into old business. Ordinance 2012-06. Councilman Bishop, please.
An ordinance amending ordinance 2010-31, eliminating future increases in garbage collection fees. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2012-06.
second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
I would like to make sure that the ordinance that we're approving does in fact have the words out of section 1, as we agreed to at the last meeting, and all future increases. I just want to make sure that those words are in fact
Our
out.
copies are just kind of scribbled out.
Right. And that was the motion from last month, and the minutes were approved, and the minutes do reflect
I
that.
just want to be sure.
Okay, Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Call for a vote on ordinance, second reading of ordinance 2012-6.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
and Joe Buck.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 2012-6 passes on a second reading on a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 2012-7. Councilman Hastings, please.
Ordinance 2012-07, an ordinance amending ordinance 2011-17, fixing salaries for appointed officers and employees of the city of Logansport, Indiana for the year 2012. Your Honor, I call for a second vote on ordinance 2012-07.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion on ordinance 2012-7?
I'd like to make a statement. I want to just read the Indiana code here that governs us on this clothing allowance. Just to make it clear, this is the Indiana code. It's not the city council, it's not the mayor, but it's 36-8-4-4 section B here. It says, it says the city shall provide the active members of the police and fire department with all uniforms, clothing, and arms and equipment necessary to perform their duties, except as provided in section 4.5, which is body armor of this chapter. And after 1 year of regular service in either department, a member may be required by the city to furnish and maintain all the active members' uniforms, clothing, arms, and equipment upon payment to the member by the city of an annual cash allowance of at least $200. The city may credit the uniform allowance to each member against the active member's purchases during the calendar year and provide for the payment of any cash balance remaining at the end of the calendar year. Now, in the next section, I want to remind the police and fire here, this is the city, or this is the Indiana code. It says all uniforms, clothing, arms, equipment provided by the city under this section remain property of the city, and the city may sell the property when it becomes unfit for use, and all money received shall be paid into the general fund of the city. Any property lost or destroyed through the carelessness or neglect of the active member shall be charged against the active member and the value deducted from the active member's pay. I just want to point that out because that is the Indiana code. That's not us, and so that's just saying that whatever you're buying, as long as we provide the 200, and we do plus, technically that is the city's property. So I just remind your people of that. That's all. And we are also going to look into actually making, for the public's notice here, we're going to look at making some changes on this, but you can't do that at this point because we're in the middle of the year. It would be a bookkeeping nightmare for the clerk. So if we make some changes, we'll make it effective January 1st of next year. That's all.
Okay, is there any further discussion on ordinance 2012-7? Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. I call for a vote on ordinance 2012-7, second reading.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
No.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
No.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-7 passes on a vote of 5-2 on the second reading. Ordinance 2012-8. Councilperson Popejoy, please.
Ordinance 2012-08, zone map amendment for de-designation of a historic single site in Logansport, Indiana. Mayor Franklin, I call for a vote on this ordinance.
Second.
Okay, it's ordinance 2012-8 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I would call for a vote on ordinance 2012-8, second reading.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-8 passes on second reading on a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 2012-9. Joe Buck, please.
Ordinance 2012-9 zone map amendment for de-designation of a historic single site in Logansport at 630 15th Street and 1504 Speed Street. Call for a vote on this ordinance.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on ordinance 2012-09? Hearing none, I'd call for the vote on ordinance 2012-9 on the second reading.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-9 passes on a vote of 7-0 on the second reading. Ordinance 2012-10. Councilman Ashcraft, please.
Ordinance 2012-10, a zone map amendment for de-designation of a single historic site in Logansport, Indiana, 2901 East Broadway. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2012-10.
Second.
Who was the second, please?
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on ordinance 2012-10? Hearing none, I would call for a vote. Second reading, 2012-10.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-10 passes on a vote of 7-0 on the second reading. Ordinance 2012-11. Councilman Fox, please.
Ordinance 2012-11, zone map amendment for de-designation of a historic single site in Logansport, Indiana, and that's at 835 Spear Street. I motion for this amendment, or ordinance.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on ordinance 2012-11?
Mayor Franklin, I believe we had some discussion with the, with,
Historic Preservation
yeah,
Committee.
historic, my mind's completely gone blank here. The recommendation from the Historic Preservation Commission was that this not be approved, and at the last meeting, we said that it should be approved. I believe we need to revisit the vote on this because unless we have a consensus, we can't go against what their recommendation is. So, as I understand it. Aaron, can you just
Not again.
bring that, just clarify that one more time? If we go against what the recommendation
How
is.
the ordinance reads is to de-designate. So if you vote yes on the ordinance, you're de-designated in property. So that, in this case, would go against the HPC's recommendation. If that happens, it would have to be a unanimous vote by the council to de-designate. If there's one person that votes against that, then it would still stay on that list. Does that make sense? Okay.
Thank you. I was all
Aaron?
flustered there.
Aaron? I'm sorry.
If the ordinance is voted down today on second reading, the issue just goes away.
Right. Well, it just stays on the list as a designation.
It holds the recommendation.
Right. Of the HPC, yes.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, ordinance 2012-11. Call for the vote, please.
Bob Bishop.
No.
Joe Buck.
No.
Gary Fox.
No.
Charlie Hastings.
No.
Chuck Liddell.
No.
Teresa Popejoy.
No.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
No.
Ordinance 2012-11 fails on a vote of 0 in favor, 7 against. So the ordinance fails, does not pass. Ordinance 2012-12. That'd be Councilman Liddell, please.
Ordinance 2012-12, zone map amendment for de-designation of a historic single site in Logansport, property located at 709 North Street. Your Honor, I call for vote second reading for ordinance 2012-12.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion on 12-12? Hearing none, I'd call for the vote.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
and Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-12 passes on a vote of 7 in favor and 0 opposed. Moving on to ordinance 2012-13. Councilman Bishop, please.
Ordinance 2012-13, zone map amendment for de-designation of a historic single site in Logansport. It's at 1318 East Broadway. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2012-13.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, I also believe this is ordinance that falls under the same provision as ordinance 2012-11. Historical Society recommended non-favorable that we approve this last meeting.
Okay. Council has an understanding of that. Is there any further discussion? Call for the question on 2012-13.
Gary Fox,
No.
Charlie Hastings.
No.
Chuck Liddell,
No.
Teresa Popejoy.
No.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
No.
Bob Bishop,
No.
Joe Buck.
No.
2012-13 fails on a vote of 0 in favor and 7 opposed. Ordinance 2012-14. Councilman Hastings, please.
Ordinance 2012-14, an ordinance amending the Logansport and Fringe zoning ordinance for historic overlay regulations. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2012-14.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on ordinance 2012-14? Hearing none, I call for a vote. Second reading of ordinance 2012-14.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
2012-14 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2012-15. Teresa Popejoy, please.
Ordinance 2012-15, an ordinance amending Logansport and Fringe Area Zone Ordinance for the addition of non-commercial vehicle regulations. Mayor Franklin, I call for a vote.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on ordinance 2012-15? Hearing none, I call for a vote on ordinance 2012-15.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yeah.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-15 passes on a vote of 7 to nothing. 7 to nothing. That's the second reading. Ordinance 2012-16. That would be Councilman Buck, please.
Ordinance 2012-16, amending ordinance 2006-12, establishing fees for the building and zoning department. I call for a vote.
Second.
Second.
Ordinance 2012-16 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion on 12-16? Hearing none, I call for a vote on ordinance 2012-16.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
All right, council, there's a slight bookkeeping error in this, and I take full blame. The membership certifications that you're being asked to approve tonight should have been listed as a resolution. They were not. It was just listed in your packet as a membership certification. So each one of these need to have a resolution designation number. The first one would be Resolution 1209. And I would ask you to consider these resolutions at this point instead of a membership certification. To clarify, it is now going to be a resolution 2012-09.
They all three fall under one resolution, Ted.
I think we have to do all three of them separately.
Okay.
9, 10, 11.
Yeah, and so we're going to have a 9, 10, 11. Judy Lewis first, Diana Brown second, and Joe Young third.
Your Honor, we didn't get any papers on this. We just got the agenda, we did not get the,
Oh, apologize. Okay.
The agenda has them listed as in a different order.
Okay.
Just as a point of order.
Oh. Okay. You're right, we'll follow the agenda.
So resolution.
09 would be Joe Young.
Right.
okay, here's three
Okay.
of them.
Yeah. And this is a requirement, it's another one of those statutes. The mayor appoints the person, and then it's up to city council to approve or deny.
They want me just to pass this around.
Okay, so resolution 2012-09 is a resolution appointing Joe Young by mayor to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Yes. And
I call for a vote on 1209.
Second.
moving right along, Resolution 1209 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I would call for a vote on Resolution 2012-09.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Resolution 2012-10. Jeremy Ashcraft, please.
Resolution 2012-10, resolution appointing Judy Lewis to the Historic Preservation Commission by Mayor Franklin. Your Honor, I call for a vote on resolution 2012-10.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, call for a vote on Resolution 2012-10.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2012-10 passes on a vote of 7-0. Resolution 2012-11. Councilman Fox, please.
Resolution 2012-11, membership certification of the Historic Preservation Commission, mayor appointment, Diane Brown.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I call for a vote on Resolution 2012-11.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
and Joe Buck.
Yes.
Resolution 2012-11 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, none against. Thank you, council, for bearing with me on that. Ordinance 2012-17. Councilman Bishop, please.
Ordinance 2012-17, authorizing the expenditure of CEDAT funds for technical contractual services. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2012-17.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion regarding ordinance 2012-17?
I would, because this is over and beyond what the normal budget is for this, and I don't really have a problem with this, but I guess I would like to see some reporting on the expenditures that are paid from this extra money, either quarterly or semi-annually. I don't know how the other council members feel about that.
I'd be happy to brief you on it.
Second.
I'm not accusing anyone
Sure.
of misusing the money or anything of that nature, but I do think because it is a large sum of money, there should be some extra accountability for it.
Understood.
I spoke with Carol Sue today and came in and asked her about that same question. I was curious at where we were at the budget, which we had allocated $40,000 for 2012, and we're at zero or near zero. And I asked her, I said, is there, as the fiscal agents, I feel like we need to be informed as to what the money is being spent on. And she said, because this is coming out of the Board of Works contractual services, that there will be, contracts on file, being basically giving us information to what the money is being spent for. So
Certainly a reasonable request. there any further discussion? Call for a vote on ordinance 2012-17.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
No.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-17 passes on a vote of 6-1. Is there any miscellaneous business, including any matters not already considered? All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.